Good morning. Oh, why am I so little? Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm not sure why I'm so little. Let me see. Mm, I don't know why it has me so little this morning. Let me remove myself. So the layout. There we go. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. How is everybody doing? I am late today. You know what happens? You go down a rabbit hole with something, and before you know it, you're there. And so I was going down a rabbit hole trying to find clips of like people having their comments on the gas prices, things like that. And you just kind of go and go and go, and you laugh at some of them. Some of them get you emotional because people are struggling out here. So I was down the rabbit hole. So my apologies for being late. I also had to get me some breakfast this morning. I did not have breakfast, but if any of you like Panera bread, they have a strawberry basil lemonade. Chef's kiss. It is really good. They have real basil, real strawberry in it. It is really, really, really good. And if you are just joining us, please hit like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend to come join on in, even if they're sitting in the clouds watching. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all those on the replay. Thank you, thank you, thank you for tuning in. So, welcome to Here at Politics in Plain English. We take current political events, we explain what's happening, why it's happening, and what it actually means. What it actually means. So, we're just going to like kind of dig right into it. I took a lot of notes, so bear with me. A little bit more in detail because I wanted to break some things down that you probably will see, as a theme going through today. You'll kind of hear them. And I always like for you guys to know what is what is what is what. Good morning. So again, thank you guys for coming in. This is for my political junkies or people who want to know what's going on and don't kind of really understand it when you're watching it on the news. So this is for you. So we're going to go over some little small things first, and then we're going to deep dive into some of the bigger things that everything that we're going to talk about does affect you, but some of the bigger things that are headlines, right? So first things first, the first jury verdict in a series of social media trials are in, and it's not looking good for Meta. Remember, people have brought charges against social media, children unaliving themselves, children not being safe, being preyed upon, children having confidence issues, things like that, where people are online, a very big space for predatory behavior, things like that. Meta, a lot of people are going after Meta and their platforms and the way that they situate these things and how wide open. Meta is going to be first because Meta owns so many things. Meta is going to be first, and then it's going to trickle down to these other companies, these gaming companies like Minecraft, where they can have separate rooms and people are pretending to be children and luring them and talking to them. Good morning. Thank you for coming in. Hit the like button. We're going to see this be a trickle down effect, and we are going to see probably bills end up being passed for more protections on the internet. The internet is a great thing as long as it's used correctly. That's the same way with AI. AI is a great thing as long as you can, yes, and Roblox, yes, as long as it can be used correctly. There's another game too that they talk about that isn't quite safe. Like you've really got to check what your children are doing at all times. So that's going on in the courthouse with Meta. It's not looking good for them. California, all my Californians, a lot of people are not talking about this right now. The gubernatorial race. What is the gubernatorial race? It is the governor's election. There are so many Democrats that have signed up to run, it could actually cancel out all the Democrats, and a Republican could potentially win the gubernatorial race. Y'all got to get it together. California got to get it together by any means necessary. That means you find the front runner. If the front runner is Gavin Newsom, I like Gavin Newsom. I like the way he gives it up. And what he's been doing so far has been working out there. So California, y'all need to get it together. And figure out who's going to be the front runner. And then what happens is you can allocate positions within that administration. They can pay off what typically happens in an election. Let me just kind of give you guys the scope, right? Follow me here. In an election, you have all these people that are running, and you have to pass a certain threshold to even be on the ballot, right? You have all these people. So let's talk about, let's use the presidential election, for example, right? You have the primary, you have all of these debates and things like that. And it's a stage full, right? People begin to drop out because there's no real pathway for them to win or either win the nomination, right? So what ends up happening is when you have the last three standing, the front runner will go to one of the other candidates that they have more alignment with. They'll say, hey, we'll pay off all of your bills for the campaign, and we'll also give you a seat X, Y, and Z, whether that's attorney general, whether that's they'll appoint them to a judge's position, whether it is something in their cabinet. That's typically how that goes. They need to work that out. And they need to work that out like yesterday. I'm pretty sure that they will, but it's so many people running right now, it would literally wipe them all the way completely off, and a Republican would then be the front runner. Crazy indeed, right? Crazy how that goes. So that's like little small things that I have been seeing, just, little things before we get to the big thing, just to kind of, they're not really talking about, but I do presume they are going to become bigger issues the closer we get. Now, Iran war. Let's talk about it. The Iran war escalation. What did I tell y'all last week? Iran don't care. Okay. Iran doesn't care. Iran is about their life. Okay. So this war that the president, and let me call him Trump, this war that Trump is claiming we are winning, this is what's happening right now. He's claiming we have won and are winning the war. However, we now have 3,000 troops that are about to go. 1,000 periscope, I think it's called periscope, I believe that's the word. Paratroopers. We have 1,000 paratroopers that have been approved to be deployed. Not their kids, but y'all's kids. This is a war that we're supposed to be winning. It's a war that we're supposed to be winning. And they're sending troops over. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. The math ain't math. And 1 + 1 is not equaling 2. Because if we were winning the war, we would be looking at de-escalation. How do we withdraw? That's what we'd be doing. We would not be sending more troops over there. And come closer. I read that Republicans in the Senate, the House and the Senate, are trying to come up with a bill to make it so that they also are now going to include women in the early draft as well. Remember in Project 2025, I told you in there, they're going after the high school seniors, males. They're also going to go after females as well. The Army has also raised their enlisted age to 42. The clues are there. The warnings, the sirens are going off. So you have high school seniors, boys. Now they're looking to propose women too. And the Army has now raised the enlisted age to 42. If that don't tell you what they're trying to do, I don't know what else will tell you. These are the clues. Follow the hints. Follow what's going on. And remember, right before that, they made certain professional degrees not professional anymore that could no longer be covered under the Pell Grant and also under student loans either. Why did they do that? Because one, majority of those degree holders are held by women, also held by Black women, right? So what they didn't want to do is lessen your options to now you got to sign up for the military. Once you sign up for the military, you are government property. Ask the Tuskegee Airmen what happened to them. Yes. If you don't believe me, go research that. Ask them what happened to them. So supposedly, there are talks going on with Iran. Supposedly, Tehran is laughing and mocks the idea because they're stating that the U.S. is negotiating with themselves. What this also says is that they don't really trust America. And for good reason, right? They don't really trust America. And because they don't trust America, they're not taking this with any type of seriousness. I told you guys last week, Iran was willing to come to a ceasefire and a compromise. They were willing to come to the table, but every single time they came to the table, they got bombed. So, it's all about credibility. And the United States used to have a whole lot of credibility. We no longer hold that credibility, right? Because of the person that we have in the highest office in the land is not a credible person to begin with. As you can see, his track record, his history, if it ain't got money, even people that he's gotten money from, he's not even loyal to them either. He's only loyal to himself. And then even then, he's not really loyal to himself. So they're not buying it. They're not believing it. They also have some concessions themselves. And it just was broke by the Associated Press. If you see this title, this description, Tehran rejected the ceasefire proposal. And they're like, no, we're not going, because they do not trust it. Now, Iran has also came up. They have proposed, this is what they want. They want reparations. Thank you so much. They want reparations, and they want sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz. This is what Iran wants. Reparations. So all that bombing, you see this right here, all of that bombing and stuff that has happened, they want the US and Israel to pay for the reconstruction. So they want reparation, and they want complete sovereignty of the Strait of Hormuz, meaning it's theirs. Meaning it's theirs. Meanwhile, J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio came up with this 15-point peace plan, but who believes that it's really going to happen? We have an incompetent president, a long lost vice president who wears eyeliner. All they do is if their mouth is moving, they're lying. It's not believable. I don't believe anything that they say. They are not this is not an administration that is fundamentally sound on good decision-making skills. The only decisions that they make are things that are going to line their own pockets. That's it. So I don't blame Iran for not believing. It would have to be somebody else. It would have to be Macron. that would have to come and bring us to the table. It would have to be, you know, it would have to be somebody else. It would have to be the Prime Minister of Canada that would have to come and had to sit down, talk, and say, hey, listen, let's bring this to the table before I would believe anything J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, or a Donald Trump would have to say, or a Jared Kushner, because we know Jared Kushner is running a shadow government. We know this. We know this all too well. We know this all too well, that this is what is happening. And while that is going on, while all of this is going on, Donald Trump's approval rating is sinking right before our very eyes. When I say sinking, baby, this is what I mean. This is exactly what I mean. I mean sinking. At this point, it is a race to the bottom. At this point. At this point, okay, y'all can see this better. I like this better. At this point, it is a race. Can y'all see that better or no? Let me see. I think I like this. At this point, it is a race to the bottom. This man has a 36% approval rating. 62% disapprove of this man. Now, if you go back over and look, he started off at 47%. That really wasn't high either, right? But this is his second term. Folks don't like him. Folks ain't going, okay? And what we're finding out is we know white women voted him in office, right? But what we're starting to see now is the white males are starting to flee. Okay, we're starting to see the white males flee and are saying this is too much, gas prices are too high, X, Y, and Z. That's the trend and trajectory that we're on. Oh, yes, he is getting close to Harry Truman, because as long as these gas prices keep rising, food prices, because insurance is not affordable anymore, and this war, this choice war is going on, I foresee it going down to like 20%. But this is super low, right? And I was on TikTok and I saw this guy, and these are my sentiments exactly to the people that voted him. My sentiments. When I tell y'all these my sentiments exactly, this is what I was doing when I was over there watching. I was over there, why I was so late. These are my sentiments exactly. When I say my sentiments exactly, okay? Hold on real quick.
White people, huh? This is the straw that broke the camel. And this is it, I guess, for y'all white people, huh? This is the
hold on, sorry.
Straw that broke the camel's back. Gas prices. Not the fact that he rolled back affirmative action laws from the 60s that affected millions of black people. Not the fact that he took away affordable health care for millions of people while giving tax cuts to billionaires. Not the fact that he's sending troops, National Guard, into cities that don't need them and spending your tax dollars to do that. Not the fact that ICE agents are masked terrorists to our communities. And they out here arresting citizens. And not only that, but they in front of court buildings or immigration offices that people that's trying to go the right way and go the right route are still getting pushed out this country and put in concentration camps. And some of these little teenage girls are pregnant by grown-ass men. Not that. Not that at all. Not the fact that he mocks the disabled or the dead. Not the fact that he's sending us to war with multiple different countries and ruining our relationships with all of our allies. Not the fact that he talked about bringing the American economy back. But when Hyundai tried to come here and build a facility, ICE agents went down there and shut the whole shit down. What about that? Not the fact that he's tanking American farming and then saying we're going to go get meat from Argentina. Not none of that. Not the fact that the middle class has been so suppressed, or even the working class, the lower class has been so fucked up. But TSA agents, long waits in line at the airport is definitely what does it. That's what's going to break the camel's back. Like, we didn't just see a plane crash right out front of my window in DC last year because we didn't have enough air traffic controllers. It's a long list of things that I can name that Donald Trump has done to completely dismantle hundreds of years of progress. And y'all still supported him, but gas prices is what did it.
Gas prices.
Long lines at the airport is what did it.
Long lines at the airport.
I just saw a woman talk about the reason that she used to support Donald Trump. She didn't have no real reason. And then she made a video explaining that we should be welcoming people with open arms that have changed their minds and made bad decisions in the past about their voting. Let me tell you something, lady.
Talk to
y'all will always, not just in the past, but in the future and currently, y'all will always suppress your own rights. You will always hurt yourself just to make sure that you're hurting the lives of minorities. And we know that about you. We know that about you. You don't want people to have food assistance programs, health care, jobs. So you'll shoot yourself in the foot and come down to the most demonic levels of bigotry that you are hurting and suffering yourself just because you hate to see people doing well in this country that's not white men. And I'm talking about white women too. Y'all will see white women doing good and hate it. Oh, she must have got that job because of DEI. The president of the United States went up there and said the pilot that crashed last year, probably was a DEI hire. It was a white man. Amen. And this is it,
Now, if that's not the truth, pass the collection plate. I don't know how many times I've got to come on here and express that their racism, they didn't vote for policy. They voted for pure racism. They voted for the fact that as long as I see another race, another gender pain being inflicted upon them, that makes me feel better. That's what they voted for. Not thinking, not realizing, not even having critical thinking skills to say, if there are no more healthcare subsidies, that's no more healthcare subsidies for all, not for Shanae and them. No, for Amber, Mary Jo, and Catherine Sue too. They didn't have the critical thinking skills to say, wait a minute. If we don't get those subsidies, my insurance is going to be raised 3 and 4 times what it was before. But because it was a Black man that ushered in a said policy, and they allowed folks to brainwash them and tell them that the Affordable Care Act was really killing people. And what even kills me even more is there was a poll that went out. When you ask people, do you like Obamacare? They would say no. But then when you ask them about the Affordable Care Act, they would say, yeah, I do believe I'll like it, not realizing it's the same damn thing. One has the actual bill's name, Affordable Care Act, while the other one had who created this, whose administration got ushered this sin's name on it. Okay. Statistics also show welfare queens are not Black mothers. We just did a study on this in class a couple months ago. Welfare queens are not Black mothers. But good old nasty ass Ronald Reagan did a campaign calling Black mothers welfare queens, perpetuating this propaganda that Black women do not want to work. They want to sit on their hind parts and collect a check. But oh, when you go look at the Department of Health and you see the statistics there, by far, white women are the ones who are benefiting off of these programs. Which is why now, if you scroll through TikTok, you see white moms upset because they were getting $600, $700, $800 on their EBT card, and now they're barely getting $125. And they're upset because they don't know how they're going to feed their family of 5. Meanwhile, when you go to the bus stations, train stations, when you go look through the city and see who is moving about, you see a lot of Black women, Black and brown women going to work who have 2, 3, and 4 kids in their household and are probably holding down 2 jobs. Because what do? We say, hey, we don't want them in our business. We don't need that. A lot of you need to wake up and understand the Black culture. The Black culture is not one of handout. We have been trained, you've got to work hard for what you want. All we got, we're going to take care of each other. But they have brainwashed the collective. They have brainwashed the poorest white family there is to think that they are more superior or more deserving than a college-educated Black mother of 2. Let that sink in. Just let that sink in there for a second. So I agree with him. It wasn't his policies that made you upset. It was gas prices and long TSA lines. Not even the fact that, not even the fact that TSA is not getting paid, right? Not the fact that children were being zip tied outside of their homes. Not the fact that children are in detention centers that really should not even be in there, that were born on this soil. Not the fact that disabled children's rights and healthcare coverages are being slashed. Oh, that wasn't it. It was the gas prices and the long lines at the airport. Just let that sink in for a second. Let that sink in. I wholeheartedly stand with what he said. Everything that he said was facts. And you can go argue with your mama about that. And since we're here, they're worried about gas. They should be worried about gas. Gas has jumped. The prices of oil has jumped 40+% in the matter of days. We are 39 days into not funding TSA. We are 2.5 weeks into this choice war. We have now 1,000 troops, paratroops, and another 2,000 troops have been called to go over there. Yet we're winning the war. Oil prices have jumped 40+%. Also, it is stating that every 10 million that it goes up, that is an extra 25 cents to the dollar. So every time it goes up, you'll see the gas prices on an average rise by 25%, 25 cents. So say today you go and it's 325, by the end of the week it's going to be 350. That's what we're looking at. That's exactly what we're looking at, because we have an incompetent administration that is led by greed, racism, and pedophiles. I said it. We have an administration that is incompetent, that is led by greed, racism, and pedophiles. It is what it is. And folks are becoming increasingly tired. They are becoming so increasingly tired. Just take a look at this, right? Look at this chart. The first term was Trump's first term. Okay. Then we have Joe Biden. Remember, Joe Biden came in at the end of the pandemic, so he had to like dig himself completely out of the hole. Nobody cared what anybody had to say in that White House. Look how far when Trump, look, just look at this. Just look at this. Good morning, everybody is coming in. Just look at this right here. Just take a look. Look at this. Just look. We got charts today. This is just based off of the military. Look at this. Independents are your swing voters. Look at the independents. They said we've gone too far. Look at the Republicans, though. Remember, I said the gap was widening, where they're becoming increasingly disgusting. This is the increasingly disgusting. 26% are saying he's doing too much on this. Meanwhile, the rest of us are like, come on. This is a mess. It is a mess, but you also know where it's being shown at. The midterms and special elections. Special elections, the Republicans are not winning. They're getting mollywopped all across the United States. And last night, right in Trump's backyard, and remember, he's trying to cancel your mail-in ballot when actually he did a mail-in ballot for his own race. The Florida State House 87 special election happened last night. And these are the results. This area is where Mar-a-Lago sits. Let that sink in really quick. This is the house, the home of Mar-a-Lago. The home of Mar-a-Lago has now elected a state representative that is a Democrat and a female. Okay. This is who represents Donald Trump. This is who now represents Donald Trump. One thing we know he hates is a female. He can't stand to see him coming unless he's able to do what he wants to do with them. But this is what is happening. Remember Chicago? We got North Carolina flipped. I'm in Charlotte. One of the representatives here in Charlotte, she was sent to the state Congress, right? She sided with the Republicans on something. She's out of a job. Another guy, I believe in the Greensboro area, I'm not sure what his name was, but he voted with them on something that they got him to vote on. They voted him out. And it was another female. They voted all of them out. They said, get up out of here. We don't want you siding with them because they're not for us. We, the people, are tired. The midterms are going to be not a blue wave, but a blue tsunami. And this is why Trump is trying to cancel out the mail-in ballot. This is why he is trying so hard. Okay? He is trying so hard to make sure that we cannot vote at all. And I want to show y'all something real quick. I want y'all to see our House minority leader. I love me some Hakeem Jeffries, but I need him to align more with AOC. That's just my opinion. Oh yes, there are internal indications, and that is why you saw what's her name down there, Marjorie Taylor Greene, decide to resign because she wasn't about to get no job. She wasn't about to get no job. And there is a sinking ship. You're going to see more and more people the closer it gets, because they're tied to him now, and there's no way around it. They are tied to this man now, right? So I want to show y'all. Let me find it. No, it's not it. Okay, that's it. Hold on 1 second. Bring this to the screen real quick. All right, listen to this. He's talking about the Save America Act and voting. This is important.
A president voting by mail, as the SAFE Act seems to.
The question is, what do you make about the president voting by mail? The same thing he's trying to take away, which has been proven to work for how many decades now? It's proven to be one of the safest ways to vote, but okay.
Try to stop voting by mail.
Yeah, we have made clear repeatedly that we support voter identification laws. And here in this country, elections are administered by states and localities, and each state and locality has the ability to determine what is the most appropriate form of voter identification that should be required for their citizens to participate in voting in that state. New York State has very strong voter identification laws, which I support, and which does facilitate voting that allows for maximum participation by citizens, while at the same period of time ensuring that the elections are free and fair. This is a states' right issue. What happened to the days when Republicans actually supported states' rights? These people are phony. And the example right now, amongst many, is the fact that for years, Donald Trump has been railing against voting by mail, only to turn around and vote by mail in the special election that's taking place today in Florida. That's king-like behavior.
They are frauds, because here's what he's saying. Let me break this down to you. Good morning, everybody's coming in. Please like, share, and subscribe. What he's saying to you is states' rights. They pushed it back to the states for the Department of Education. They pushed it back to the states for abortion bans or rights. They pushed it back to the states for so many things, right? Republicans for years and years and years and years and years and years have touted states' rights, states' rights, states' rights, states' rights, which is why a lot of states did not accept the expansion money for Medicaid for more people to be covered underneath the Affordable Care Act, right? Y'all remember that? Y'all remember all of these different states? Roy Cooper was like, no, we're going to accept it, which is why they have such a robust coverage for children. I'm here especially our special needs children. They have really good coverage for them. But you see, a lot of the southern states didn't accept the expansion money, and they saw that they never reaped the benefits of the Affordable Care Act. So now in this instance, we know that voting is not federalized. It is state level. That way it ensures its security, and it ensures that federal agencies do not have their hand in the pot. They also want to get rid of voting machines. What? They want to get rid of voting machines, certain voting machines. They want to produce their own, which we know how that's going to go. That means, which I can't wait until the investigation comes out about this past election. I do believe those voting machines were tampered with, because Elon Musk said it himself, anything can be hacked. And I believe they created a system to hack in them because there is no way that the election was supposed to be called that early. Nowhere in the history of presidential elections has it ever been called by the swing states that early. Mark my words. They are trying to suppress the vote at any turn that they can go. They want to make sure you are a citizen. So why can't you use your license or state ID or your passport? No, they want you to go get more things. They want to make sure that the last name matches. Well, what if I'm married? You've got long lines at the DMV, long turnaround times for certain things. So you're going to purge me off the voter roll so that I can no longer vote. They're not widening access to voting. They're trying to decrease the access to voting. And that is not a free and fair election. That is not the definition of a free, fair election for the people, by the people, of the people. And this is the problem that we're running into because they know that a blue tsunami is ahead of them. They know they stand no chance. They stand no chance. And it's more people that have never voted before that are now activated to vote. You've got people who are moderate Republicans that are like, I can't even vote for someone who has stood. I may not like all of the progressive talk, but what I don't like is I don't like adding to our national debt. I don't like what ICE is doing illegally. I don't like education being stripped down the way that it is. I don't like that our privacy is being intruded on. Remember, I told you guys yesterday, they're able to go through your phones at any time. That's why if you're traveling, take your biometric feature off, turn it off, so that then you have to put in a code. Because if you have to put in a code to get in your phone, they have to present you with a warrant. These are the things that we're dealing with day in and day out. But yet they want funding. And see, they tried to attach this SAVE Act bullshit to the funding of DHS. FEMA, they figured, oh, we've got to pass this because it's FEMA and the Coast Guard that's attached to this. No. You created a Gestapo. We're not going to fund you to terrorize our streets. Democrats said, we will give you funding, but you must have these rules: body cameras, face masks, actual warrants to go into homes and places, establishments, and also identification, real identification. We're talking pictures, names. That's what they're asking for. And the Republicans refuse to give that to them because they're enjoying, first of all, they're not even enjoying what they're seeing. They're cringing at what they're seeing, but they are so scared of this old senile man that is in office, who adds no value to anybody's life, not even his own, who is on one banana peel, one foot in the grave and the other on a banana peel. He's on his way out of here and he's praying that he don't go to hell, but he says it all the time. I don't think I'm going to heaven. He thinks that he's immortal. He thinks he's going to be here forever. He thinks that he can be president forever, which is why I think he's really trying to build a bunker underneath the White House and redo it, because he doesn't have any plans of leaving. But oh, when that glorious day comes, when we push him up out of there. And this is why we have to stop our infighting. We have got to come together and figure out who is electable and who isn't. Who have more policies of what we need, who is going to fight for our right, who is going to stand up for our voices as a majority and not bring more harm to us, but bring us more good, more peace, more safety, more security, more common sense legislation. It can't be because, oh, she laughs too much. What are we talking about here? This is how we ended up where we ended up. Right now, they're upset at James Tallarico down there in Texas. He wasn't my pick for Texas. I wanted Jasmine Crockett. However, folks spoke otherwise. But now the Republicans can't deal with the fact that he's using the very same Bible scriptures that they're using against them, and they don't know what to do. And see, really why Jasmine Crockett really didn't win that race, it wasn't because of policy, it was because of the confusion of the day of voting. That's what it was. It was the confusion of the day of voting. Okay. But then we're okay with sending these guys in to do absolutely nothing, while TSA workers are actually doing a job and they're not getting paid. This is all the confusion of so many things. And this is the way this administration runs. Confusion, confusion, confusion. Because if it's one confusion over here, another one confusion, you forget about the other little things that are working around. One thing happens and you forget about that because every day it is something. Every day that we wake up to something, whether he drops a bomb, whether we have a plane crash, whether we're sending more troops, whether he has tweeted something in the middle of the night that is so outlandish and disgusting and vile. Okay. Whether ICE has bashed somebody else's head in or shot and killed somebody. Okay. Whether there's been another Epstein bombshell, which Democrats are starting to understand how to do this. They had a shadow hearing, surprise shadow hearing yesterday with folks that had been detained by ICE, and they were sitting there telling them what was going on and how it was going on. Then there was footage released of Epstein's lawyers and accountants. And they were very careful, and I do believe that the lawyer perjured himself because he said he knew that they had a relationship, but he didn't know the details of it. Lies, because you were his lawyer when he was on trial for the heinous crimes he got found guilty of. So how you didn't know the dirty deeds that he was doing? Because a good lawyer, a great lawyer, is always going to know, I need to know the truth because I need to know how to operate around the truth and find loopholes for you. Because there is attorney-client privilege. So I do think that he perjured himself in this. There's a lot of nasty, shaky, suspicious things going on from the stock market. He's manipulating the stock market. So he comes out and says he has a peace deal when really and truly he has nothing on the table. Iran doesn't trust him. The other countries don't trust him, which is why we're at this by ourselves. You had the Prime Minister of Japan sitting in the White House, in the Oval Office, and a reporter, which was a great question. The reporter said, were you planning to inform them of your war plans? He said, no, I wanted to surprise them. Then he says, but what about Pearl Harbor? What? The president of the United States is incompetent at best. A 6-year-old could run the country far better than this because at least they take direction. This man sat there in front of the Prime Minister of Japan and said, what about Pearl Harbor? Are you okay? Are you cool? When the last time you had your meds? Do we need another psych evaluation? You can't be the person that is running this country. But see, the reason why they picked this fool is because they know he can be bought. They know that this administration can be bought. They knew that Trump could be bought. So what they did was they bought him. Look at Apple. Look at Meta. Look at Jeff Bezos. Look at all of them. They lined up and donated all this money, bringing gold things in here so that they can benefit from certain loopholes. So that they, look at the man that stole all of that money in the crypto. He was found guilty. He was in jail for a very long time. And guess who got pardoned? Just like all the January 6 people, they got pardoned. But guess what? Most of them are going back to jail for sex trafficking, child pornography, and many other violent crimes. This is who he chooses to be cool with because he doesn't see anything wrong with it. This man, Robert Mueller, who has served for this country, who is a civil servant, passed away due to Parkinson's disease. And the best thing that this man could come up with was good. I'm glad he's dead. He is disgusting scum of the earth. Walking around with a catheter inserted, because you can see it. And I do believe what his niece, Mary Trump, says, that he does indeed poop on himself. I believe it. I believe it wholeheartedly. She has said that he has had a bowel, he has, what is it called? Uncontrollable bowel syndrome, something like that. I'm probably making up something, but something similar like that. You can't control your bowels, where he makes it on himself. I've even heard he has people hired there to change him. And we already know that little miss, I for the children, and we want the children to be safe. We know she does not live in a White House. She lives in New York, where her child goes to school. They have not slept in the same bedroom in decades. That's right, IBS or Crohn's disease is one of the children, and her name is coming up in the Epstein Files too, because what it's rumored to say is that she met Donald Trump through Epstein, which meaning she was probably one of the Epstein girls. Just like his daughter's name is in there because she used to hang out with Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, why would a mother or a father be okay with their teenage daughter hanging out with Ghislaine Maxwell, where it was reported that she would stop at schools when she would see a pretty girl, stop at schools and get their phone number? That tells you what this country is about. That tells you what this man is about. This is the same man that said that his own daughter was a hot piece of ass. Okay. But y'all would much rather a white man that's disgusting like this, a white man who the only reason why he held the Miss America pageants and he said it out of his own mouth. Yeah, I just walk back there when they're naked and I look at them because it's like meat hanging. I can inspect it as if they're pieces of meat waiting to be stamped by the USDA. Pass or fail. This is what white women wanted to put in office because of your racist blindness, your proximity to racism. You couldn't hit the vote for the Black woman who smiled, who has actually served in all three branches of government, who is by far the most qualified we've ever had, who is a Howard graduate, proudly. And yes, she did marry a white man, so what? This is the same man that they called on the hot mic saying he would grab them by the see. But see, now it's an outcry because guess what? You also found out that they said they don't want Black kids. They want white girls. They want white girls because they stupid ass mamas was falling for any and everything and not knowing, oh, they are right to their privacy. Because Black mamas and aunties, grandfathers, aunties, uncles, sisters, brothers, cousins, neighbors, pastors, teachers, whoever would be down there ringing the bell. Now we have to sit here and endure this. And you guys are mad that we're not outside marching, that we're not outside ringing the alarm bells when we already rang the alarm bells. And again, you love the Black labor, but not our leadership. So since you don't want our leadership, you don't deserve our labor either. Because they need our labor, because they need our spiritual fortitude, the force that comes with our ancestral lineage to come out, right? They need that type of energy, protection, and guidance. They need that. And they're upset because we're not angry. We're not angry because we told you what was going to happen. We just got ready. We've been ready. Because when you've been part of the oppressed and suppressed for so long, and certain things that no longer bother you, you know how to maneuver through a room full of vultures, as Jay-Z says. They don't even know how to maneuver through their own front yard. Look at them now, crying at the gas pump, crying at the grocery stores. They no longer have that $600-700 deposit on their EBT. They only have $125. Now they're having to find a second job. Or Mima and Papa have to decide whether they buy their prescriptions or they get their natural ice or their natural light. When they see their power bill go from being $40 to now $80 in a month. No warning. These are the times that we live in, but welcome to seeing what it is to be a Black person in America, because now your kind is being tracked down and killed in streets for doing absolutely nothing. Welcome to the world of Black men and women. Now your kind are being shot in broad daylight with their hands up, complying with the officers. And come to find out they aren't criminals. They're actually upstanding citizens of society. You got a nurse that was a vet and shot him multiple times in the back. You had another mom who was steering away from ICE and got killed, got shot in the face multiple times. Welcome to the world of Black men and women and kids. Now you're seeing what it's like to be surveilled, not listened to, ran over, disregarded. Now you're seeing exactly what is right. But you know what? I hope that you all have the day that you voted for. I hope you all have the weeks to come that you voted for, because we're sick and tired of being sick and tired of telling you that racism is expensive. Hatred is expensive. And voting against your own interest is expensive. It is now costing you your jobs. It is costing you your food. It is costing you your security. It is costing you your income. It is costing you your financial stability. You're no longer in this, Now you can no longer turn a blind eye to what we've been telling you and act like you've never been aware of what's going on, because now it is happening to you. So what do I say to all of that? You FA'd and FO'd. And it is time to have new people in charge. It's time to actually sit down and listen. And we don't want to hear what you have to say. We don't want to hear about your complaints. We don't want to hear about any of that. What we need you to do is shut the fuck up and get in line. Because if you really want to know how to vote right, okay? If you really want to know the way that you need to vote, the smartest way to ever vote is to vote the way that the majority of Black women are voting, because we see beyond ourselves. We see our family, we see our neighbors, we see our education, we see our property tax, we see our quality of food, we see our quality of health, we see we see our energy, meaning gas, oil, electricity, our quality of air, our quality of neighborhoods. What are our elderly going to be treated at? That's what we see in a totality. And Black people are not a monolith. The voter is not a monolith. But one thing we do not do is we do not, as a whole, vote against our own very own interest. Because once we start giving in to our very own interest, your very rights will be stripped away in front of your very own eyes. That is happening in this very moment. Women's rights, children's rights. Next is voter suppression. So please save me with the tears. Please save me with the grumps and the gripes and this and that. Go find a therapist and lay on their couch, or take it to call Jesus on the main line and tell him what you want. But we don't have any time to listen to this gripe, because see, we've been organized all along. We know what it's like to put 1 + 1 together to equal 2, even if we got to borrow 1 from our neighbor or our sister or our cousin or our brother, or however we got to do it. We make a way out of no way always. So welcome to the world of being a Black person in America.